Tickets are on sale now for our 20th anniversary Back to the 80s and 90s WrestleFest Birthday Bash, Saturday, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, it is that time of night. WWE Monday Night Raw is in the books. Dan Marty here along with your host, the former WWF Tag Team Championship manager, the man that nearly blew the roof off of every major arena around the country and around the globe, the leader of Mabel, Mo, Men on a Mission, the OSCAR, Oscar. Again, quite the introduction for a man that only has 5 letters in his name.
No. You didn't do it right. See, that depression has gotten to you.
What happened? Well, I
you didn't say
wrong?
Roof right. You're supposed to say blue roof. You know how you say roof.
Well, I tell you, as I don't know, the fans.
It's in my contract that you got to say roof the right way. Roof.
All right, this is the man that.
Let's do it again.
All right, this is the man that nearly blew the roof off of every major arena around the country and around the world. Former WWF Tag Team Championship manager, the leader of Men on a Mission, Mo and Mabel, OSCAR, Oscar. Again, quite the introduction for a man with only 5 letters in his name.
There you go. Thank you. That's How you doing?
Well, as you know, it has not been my finest week.
when you got to call David Reese, and I don't mean to razz him about Reese's Pieces. When you seriously got to call that,
I need David Reese.
You really got a problem.
I need David Reese for his other professional services right now, other than his pieces.
Yeah.
I am. I am worn to the bone. I actually did. I didn't speak. I texted, I guess is the proper terminology, with the esteemed President Dr. Reese today as we count down the days to our 20th anniversary, Saturday night, November the 13th, Memorial Hall, Melrose, Massachusetts. We go back to the 90s. Tickets on sale now at BostonWrestling.com. But what amazes me, Oscar, it was 20 years ago right now. It was the eve of our first live event, which was obviously September 28th, 2001. So it was a very nerve-wracking day. You know, just when you think you know it all, there's always a curveball being thrown your way. Certainly nothing like what we're dealing with right now. But that's a different story for a different time. But, you know, as a youngin', I spent my 6 years with Tony Rumble. I spent a year with WWF. And, you know, even with that experience under the belt at such a young age, it was quite an undertaking to put together an event quite like that. Even then, you know, we weren't one to go for, a moose hall that holds 50 people. We went to the former home of ECW in Massachusetts, Wonderland Greyhound Park in Revere, Massachusetts, where the coolest incident took place with New Jack. I had a hell of a live event, just as we thought. We're shaping up for a great night. About 3 weeks headed into the little less than 3 weeks before the event, 9/11 took place. So, I mean, the whole world was in a state of shock. And just as 9/11 started to calm down, people were afraid to go to their mailbox because of the anthrax powder that was found. It was a crazy time for the world. And now we look at this 20th anniversary again, we find ourselves in yet another crazy time in the world, trying to, just as it looks like we're turning the corner with the corona a little, now we got the Delta.
Okay, now you advertising it and it's like, now is everything the fans? I'm asking the fans need to know. Is everything back on track? Are you not going to get arrested if you come to the building?
Well, I don't know anything about that. David Reese kind of put the kibosh on it, but the event it's going to be white hot. There's going to be a VIP Q&A. There's going to be autographs, posed photos. There's going to be in-ring action. I don't want to steal from your introduction, so I'll say white hot action that will blow the roof off of Memorial Hall in Melrose. And, you know, where it's kind of aging, they might have to hold it down with Scotch tape, but It might be a little easier than how you did it, where you worked in the finest arenas across the globe. But it's going to be a great night. It's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward to it.
No. But you coming?
What's that?
Right, you got all that resolved. You coming to steer the ship, right? You gonna be in the house.
I'm going to be in Melrose. I know I'm going to be in Melrose, and I know we're going to have a great night at Memorial Hall. So those are two things I know I can answer.
Wait. How we gonna? I'm sorry. How we gonna have a great night of anything if you are not there? I mean, you are driving this ship. So who the hell is going to drive the ship if you don't drive the ship?
Oh, we got John Cena Sr. We've got President Reese. I don't know if President Reese is going to be able to make the journey, but Chairman Manoli.
You can't count on them.
We have, we've got plenty of folks. I don't know if you remember the cartoon Inspector Gadget. I'll be like the guy with the hand that just watches everything over a monitor.
Oh my God! Okay,
that's what it's come to.
Okay.
I tell you, only in Boston wrestling, folks. Only in
Boston wrestling, boy.
What is going on in the world of Oscar? Let me ask you this: where are you?
I'm at home in Atlanta.
You're in Hotlanta still.
I'm in Hotlanta still.
There's no more Indiana.
No.
Ever.
Not that I know of.
All right.
I ain't gonna say I might have to go there for something, but no. I mean, I moved. I have turned the chapter in my life from cold weather to not so cold weather. It's nice out here.
How warm is it in Hotlanta tonight?
It's probably in the 70s.
That's nice, especially at night. Yeah. Well, we're going to be falling out of the 70s this week, and I don't think it's going to come back. So fall is going to be officially here in New England over the next few days. But
it's going to go down into the 50s?
Probably at nighttime, yeah.
Oh, wow. So sorry to hear that.
Well, I'm hoping Boston Red Sox make the playoffs. A lot of longtime fans know I am a baseball aficionado. But, you know, those playoff games in October at night can be cold, Oscar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. Especially, you know, when you don't have a dome like we had in Las Vegas to enjoy the Raider games.
Well, you got to see one of the great Monday night football games of all time and missed the Cauliflower Club reunion. But hopefully you'll be with us in 2022, whether they have it in April or September. It still hasn't been announced yet, but a great time was had by all.
Yeah, and then hopefully they'll move it over to the Orleans, you know, like the room.
Yeah, that seems to be the rumor.
You know, but there's been rumors about them. Yeah, there's been rumors about them moving forever, so it's probably going to be right back at the Gold Coast where it belongs.
What do you mean? You almost say that. You almost say that with a sense of disgust in your voice. What do you mean where it belongs?
Well, the Gold Coast has become a staple of Cauliflower Alley, so it being anywhere else as though it would be nice and be great, it's just not going to look right. It's got to be in that smoky casino with them crappy rooms, with that buffet that we've all come to love, and everybody crowd around TGI Fridays. I mean, you know, it's become tradition almost.
Do you think it's better off staying at the Gold Coast with its first-class amenities?
No, I think it's better. I think it's better off going someplace else, but it just ain't going to feel the same.
Well, I don't know if you had a chance to watch our Extreme Rules watch-along last night, Oscar, but we were complaining about, did I tell you what time the pool closed?
The pool closed?
Did I tell you what time the pool closed at the Gold Coast?
It was 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, the sun was...
That's not unusual. Yeah, no, a lot of those Vegas pools close early like that.
Well, it used to. I think it used to be 9. But let me tell you,
Nah.
it was still sunny. It was still over 100 degrees outside, and the pool had to close.
Yeah.
One night they were nice enough; they'd let us stay in probably until about 6:45, but not much later than that.
Yeah, no, a lot of those pools close because they have lifeguards, and so if the pool have lifeguards, the lifeguards don't work, at night like that. So that's not unusual. A lot of those big casinos pools, well, it's disappointing because people want to go to the pool at night, but a lot of those pools shut down, early in the evening. It's so disappointing.
It is disappointing. I'm a man that enjoys relaxing in the hot tub or the pool or whatever it may be, and then just as I was getting myself settled, it was ready to take it home. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, even with the first class amenities, the Gold Coast does not have a lifeguard.
Oh, then I don't know what they're closing for.
Well, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
If there's no one there during the day, what difference does it make? But one man's opinion. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the CAC in 2022. Friend Brian Blair his back is in rough shape. We wish him the best. He really had to put forth a great effort just to get through the cauliflower this year.
Well, he's gonna have to wind up. They're going to wind up appointing a new president eventually because he can't do it forever. So they're gonna have to regroup and find somebody else to take the reins. That's in better physical shape. God bless Brian Blair. This has not been his year. He has been through.
He's still a relatively young guy. I could see him doing it for quite a while. In some cases, how can I say this respectfully? The presidential figure is almost the figurehead, where the EVP does a lot of the grunt work. Like in this case, I was so happy to see our friend Carl Lauer back in action, who most people had written off as dead. They thought Carl was going to die. I never thought I'd see the man again, but he surprised everybody. And you know what? He's alive, he's kicking, and now he's back on the executive board of the CAC. So I was thrilled about that. He's such a good person. I think the world of Carl. He's been a friend going back to 1995. So it was great to see him. He's got a lady friend now, which is very nice.
All right.
Yeah, he's got a lady friend he brought with him. We took several pictures together, which actually I'd like to get a copy of it. But yeah, so, it was good to see Carl. I look forward to the information on what's going to happen with the CAC in 2022 as far as where it's going to be. You know me, I like to plan ahead of time. I'm interested to see more information on our Back to the 80s reunion on Saturday, April 16th. At this point, I guess that information will be forthcoming, but we'll hold off on that. But did you get a chance to see Extreme Rules last night, Oscar? It was an interesting pay-per-view.
I did not see Extreme Rules. Give me some of the highlights that I missed.
Well, you had a really good main event between Roman Reigns and Finn Balor for the WWE Universal Championship. Great finish. Finn went up to the top rope for the coup de grace, and the top rope broke. And then Roman went for the spear and got the easy 1, 2, 3 at that point. I thought it was creative because, as you may know, Finn has never lost when he's been the Demon before. So this was the first pinfall loss for the Demon, and a good creative way to do it. I don't think it killed him. The ring falling apart was the reason why, or what at least led to the loss. You had one of the worst segments I've seen in quite a while. Charlotte Flair tore apart Alexa Bliss's doll, and Alexa went berserk, and that didn't go over so well. And a lot of women's matches on the show, which, thrilled me. You had Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair go quite a while.
Yeah, how did that go? Becky retained, right?
She did, yes. She did.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
We had... they added a surprise match to open the show. I don't know why you wouldn't advertise this ahead of time, but That's WWE trying to surprise all the great fans on the Peacock network. New Day took on, who the hell was it? Bobby Lashley, Omos, and AJ Styles in a 6-man tag team match. So that was not advertised ahead of time. So it was a big night of action in Columbus, Ohio. We also saw, what else? I'll tell you, this one that I thought stood out as pretty good was Damian Priest retaining the United States Championship over Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. It was a hard-hitting match. I thought it was very good. I was a little, I don't want to say surprised, considering the talent that was in there, but it was well executed. Not New Day, the Usos, tremendous tag team title match they had with, oh God, is my brain fried today thinking of these different things or what? Street Profits. I think it was one of the better matches Street Profit has had since they debuted in WWE.
Well, the Usos have a way. The Usos, just like their forefathers, the head shrinkers. The one thing that they have in common is they can make a match and make anybody look good, and they can make a match look good just like Samu and Fatu used to do back in the day. That's one talent that they possess.
Well, they certainly went out of their way, and they did it last night. Let me tell you, I don't want to knock Street Profits, but to me, they're like a one-trick pony. Once you see what they've done once, you've seen what they can do. You know what I mean? Usos, with the Usos, a lot more variety.
Right.
I like the matches. I'm a big Usos guy, despite some of the problems that they've had outside the ring, which I hope will be resolved and not be issues for them in the future. But anyway, overall, I just, there was nothing other than the Alexa Bliss nonsense with Charlotte over the doll. It was a pretty good show. It's just the presentation of it, it really didn't hold my attention. I hate to say it, but I really didn't care. It's got to that point where I just don't care.
I hear Tony Khan was backstage. I don't know was it there? Tony Khan was backstage. What was that about?
Tony Khan was backstage at the pay-per-view?
Well, that's the rumor. I don't know if it was the pay-per-view, but he was backstage recently
for a WWE
event. From what I read, I mean, I don't believe everything I read. So
Are you sure
I thought you might could shed some light on it. I mean, I read it, but it don't mean just because I read it don't mean it's true.
Are you sure you don't mean the president of WWE, Nick Khan?
No, Tony Khan.
Well, they're both Khans.
No, you know what? I believe it was the AEW guy. That's why it was such a. That's why it was such a big article.
I can't see him being welcome at a WWE live event, given the current circumstances right now. But overall, I think when we graded,
why wouldn't he be?
Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, why wouldn't he be?
If you were Vince McMahon, would you want him in your locker room?
As a sign of diplomacy, I think it would be bad politics to throw him out, whether to embrace him in. If it was me.
No, I could not imagine. I could not imagine Tony Khan being backstage at a WWE event right now.
I'll put it like this. How many, look at it this way. How many leaders and enemies do you see having a conversation or having a face-to-face meeting right before they go to full-out scale war?
It does happen. You're right. But I don't think WWE, I don't think Vince wants that the day of a TV taping. Maybe at Titan Tower, if they were going to get together, I don't know. But as far as at a WWE live event, I can't imagine the circumstances where that would happen. I'd love to read the article.
Well, like I said, I mean, it was just an article. I don't know, like I said, these things may or may not be true. I take them with a grain of salt, but I was surprised when I read it.
Yeah, I would be too. Well, I tell you, at the end of the day, right now, that their competition, AEW, is really the only wrestling promotion, at least in the United States, that has momentum going for it right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
WWE.
they really do. Bray Wyatt's making his debut. If he didn't make it already, right?
Well, his no-compete clause is up right around Halloween, and AEW has a pay-per-view, I think, the second Saturday in, November 13th. So, what a Halloween treat that would be for the fans to have the debut of Bray, whatever obviously they can't call him Bray Wyatt, but whatever his name may be in AEW, that'd be a great way to debut him, I think, live on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, I think that they're in all likelihood going to have it, but that card is so stacked now. It's almost scary.
The roster for AEW?
Yes, Lord, yes. I mean, I don't know how they can take anymore. And oh my God, how much money have they allocated toward this project to keep paying these people? Because they don't come cheap. I'm sure they had to take a pay cut from when they was over in WWE. I mean, I wouldn't pay them the same or more money. I would. It was me, but still a substantial amount for those top stars that they got and the ones that they poaching and whatever else is going on over there, it's got to be costing quite a bit of money. I cannot see that they have come to any sense of profitability yet, not even close.
I think Tony Khan said they turned, on the wrestling end of things, they turned a profit last year, but where he's invested so much in developing the AEW video game on his own, that ate away. But I mean, look at the money that Tony Khan is going to walk into at some point in his life. I mean, his father has more money than Vince. They own several.
What did they do? Okay, yeah. What business were they in before they got into wrestling? Do you know?
They own several Major League Sports franchises. As far as what they did before the sports franchises, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm going to look it up.
What sports franchises do they own? Do they own?
They own the Jaguars, which is right next door to where they were running.
Really?
In
I didn't
know. Yeah. And they own, I think it's Fulham, a soccer team. I'm not a big soccer guy, so I'm not totally hip to the blade on that. I'm not 100% sure of what that entails. I'd have to talk to my good friend Cool Papa Bell when it comes to the soccer end of things. But I think the father was ranked. I'm looking at it right now. In 2021, his net worth was $8 billion. 66th richest man in the United States, 183rd richest person in the world.
Wow.
So you know what? He's got money Vince might want.
No. Yeah. No, I don't think.
I mean, there's nothing.
Vince is up that way.
There's nothing wrong with having a couple billion at any point, but.
Nah, you right about
the Khans. The Khans have the money to compete in just about any way they want to. So,
nah, you right about that. I ain't worried about them no more.
If they want the Fiend, if they want Braun Strowman, whoever may be available to them, they've got the money to compete for any wrestler on the planet.
Yeah, no.
But the question is, do they spend the money wisely? That's the big thing. They don't want to turn into WCW. The money that they wasted as the years went on.
Did you hear about their latest acquisition?
Who?
Oh, you haven't heard about their latest acquisition?
Which company are you talking about?
AEW.
Are you talking about Ruby Solo?
No, I'm talking about DMR.
Well, I don't know if that's public knowledge as of yet.
Nah.
Can we share that
Okay.
information?
Nah. All right. I would wait, but I didn't know if you knew or not.
Until I get I've been told directly, along with what I heard on the rumor mill, I did get the official confirmation, but until I received clearance for us to discuss it, I didn't want to do so. But I
Right, no, that's why
you're the VP.
That's why I just said the initials.
Oh, all right.
No, I'm not. That's why I just said the initials, because I didn't know if you even knew that was a thing.
Oh, I do know it's a thing. I don't know if it's something that it's public knowledge as of yet.
Yeah, no, it's a thing, and it's an incredible thing. But we gotta get clearance before we get all into it, because that's a major story.
It certainly is a major story, and it's a great thing for professional wrestling, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's fantastic for professional wrestling. It's we'll get into it when we get clearance, but I'm just gonna say that it is exactly what I've been saying and you've been saying. Professional wrestling has been needing all this time, and if that can get done in the proper way, that is definitely a win.
Well, I have a lot more I want to add on it. I want to make sure it's okay for us to discuss it.
Well, you don't got to say no names. You can. I mean, we can talk about it. We just don't got to say no names.
I don't think we're really fooling any. I don't think we're fooling anybody. But
yeah, but see, that's the thing. Nobody can't say that we said. No, they can't. I mean, we've been talking about this the whole time, so nobody can't say we said who.
Well, I think after Daphne's unfortunate incident. WWE sent out an email to the talent that they were willing to help them get mental health help if they need it, which I think is a very positive thing. But, AEW apparently is interested in doing something more in-house, and I think that's a great thing, too.
Right.
I think that's a better thing.
No, it is a better thing. And, I mean, they talking about, in-house counseling, counseling available at pay-per-views, seminars, and and all that other kind of thing like that. And I have put my hat into the ring as being the guy behind the guy, because as they understand psychology, they don't understand psychology as it opposed to wrestling talent. So they definitely going to need an advisor to help them along the way. So I'll definitely offer my services in that regard.
Well, I applaud you. I know it's one thing that you care about a great deal. I know you behind the scenes, you've been working on some projects over the past, probably 6-7 years at this point, to try and get things rolling for the current generation. Do you think, let me ask you this, going back in time, do you think it would have helped you during your WWF tenure if you had help like that on the road? Or
I'm going to tell you something. I can answer that question definitively. When I was going through some things, I asked J.J. Dillon that very question. Is there a counselor or therapist in-house that I can talk to? Because I was cracking up, based on some things that I was going through. And I recently sat down and watched the plane ride from hell, from beginning to and there's some people that needed that kind of help, whether they wanted it or not.
Right.
It should have been mandatory. I mean, it's one thing for ribs. All right, but ribbon aside, there are some people that really, really, really had demons at that time. They were still allowed to work, in that atmosphere. Some people got fired behind it. But instead of some people getting fired, they needed counseling, and they needed psychiatric assistance more than losing their job, because they lost their job. But where do they go from there? They wasn't going to get no better. All right, so you fire them. You're not giving them no help.
You
And
know
then
what,
there was
Oscar?
some
I think that's
people who just
I think that's a great spot. Why don't we take a timeout right now, and then we can kind of dive into it a little deeper on the flip side of the break. Sound like a deal?
sound like a deal.
All right, Hope Wrestling fans, right now, check out what we have happening Saturday night, November the 13th, the historic Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. It's going to be a happening for our 20th anniversary as we go back to the 90s. We'll be back after this brief timeout. Tickets are on sale now for our 20th anniversary, back to the 80s and 90s WrestleFest Birthday Bash, Saturday, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Utica Memorial Auditorium in Utica, New York, Sunday, September the 27th, 1981. In the opening contest, Yoshiaki Yatsu beat Frank Savage. Mr. Fuji and Mr. Saito with the win over Kurt Hennig and S.D. Jones. Mr. USA Tony Atlas defeated Baron Mikel Cicluna. Women's champion, the fabulous Moolah and Donna Cristinello victorious over Judy Martin and Candy Malloy. Pedro Morales victorious over Angelo Mosca via disqualification. And in the main event, the WWF Intercontinental Champion, the magnificent Don Morocco, retained the title over Dominic DeNucci. If you were in Utica Live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working on our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston wrestling sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
Here's your chance to own a piece of history from the 2020 WWE Draft. On the second night, October the 12th, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Alexa Bliss unleashed hell on Andrade and Zelina Vega. This limited edition 11x14 collector's poster is number 26 of only 50 made, personally signed by both The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, direct from friends at WWE. Comes with certificate of authenticity hologram on the poster itself, suitable for framing. You'll also receive a bonus autographed mystery photo and an on-air shout-out as our thanks to you. Get this ultra-rare autographed Fiend and Alexa Bliss poster now. Wrestling fans, especially here in the Boston area, we want to thank our great friends at Red Rose for their support for all of our charitable endeavors and programming efforts. Red Rose is 2 years young and extremely thankful for all the support they've had from our neighbors here in Melrose and beyond for an amazing first 2 years. Red Rose thanks Melrose and all of the first responders who have fought the good fight and have never given up hope during these unprecedented times. We did it together. Follow Red Rose on Facebook for their anniversary special, facebook.com/Red Rose Melrose. You'll be glad you did. Open until 2 a.m. Red Rose will give you fresh, piping hot, mouth-watering food that'll put an ear-to-ear smile on even the toughest critic's face. Check out their full menu online at redrosema.com or give them a call, 781-620-1889. All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Insiders. Dan Marty, unfortunately, but I am very happy to be proud by the man on a mission, the guiding light of former WWF Tag Team Champions, men on a mission, the one and only manager extraordinaire Oscar, the VP, of Boston Wrestling Sports. Oscar, before the commercial break, we just started to, I guess, touch the surface of the recent Dark Side of the Ring episode that got a lot of attention paid towards it, I guess maybe is the best way to put it. The Dark Side of the Ring episode on the plane ride from hell in May of 2002. I know you had a chance to see the episode. I know you had a chance to live the WWF life. While you weren't on that particular flight, it was several years after your departure from the company. I'm sure it had to resonate with certain experiences that you had.
Oh, no, it definitely resonated. See, the one thing I want to point out is, the things that I went through, were not just simple ribs. They were they were very crude pranks in nature. It was torture. I'm strong enough to use that word. And all honestly, I kept on. I had my work at that time to keep me going and keep me strong. But if I was a weaker individual, those kinds of things are how people commit suicide. Those kinds of things are how people lapse into a real depression. And those things stay with you for years and years and years and years. And some people don't recover from it. And the guys who perpetrate those kinds of things, they don't think about that. They think it's all fun and games and all of the other kinds of all the kinds of things like that. But my wife reminded me of something that I said at a school during a bullying seminar. The people that get bullied need therapy and they need help.
Yeah.
But the people who do the bullying, they need just as much help too.
Maybe even more.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe even more. And so, going back to Dark Side of the Ring, the plane ride from hell. I'm gonna tell you the biggest part of that made me mad. The biggest part. The biggest part that made me mad about that was, okay, this guy got fired, that guy got fired, that guy got reprimanded, this guy got fired. But Ric Flair was the worst, and nothing happened to him. He was Teflon.
Yeah. That's very interesting that I don't want to say got away with it. We weren't there. We're going on secondhand comments. There were a lot of people in that episode that claimed that Vince and Linda McMahon were on the flight. They were not on that flight. So there were some inaccuracies.
No, they were not on that. I don't believe. I'm glad you said that, because I was very confused by them saying that if they were on that flight, none of that stuff would have happened. Not to that degree.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think, and I'm not knocking Dark Side of the Ring. I mean, you're trying to get different opinions from so many different people. You know how wrestling is. Not everybody remembers everything the same way. So, I thought with what they did in 40 minutes, they did a really good job presenting the information that they had. But what can you learn from it, Oscar? I guess maybe is the best way to put it.
Well, I mean, you know what? You could learn how things really were then. You could learn, you could learn the cruelty of the way certain things went down, and what it was like. But it wasn't all fun and games. I mean, you had some people that had some real sadistic agendas, and they carried them out. It is not funny to shave somebody's eyebrow off. I'm sorry. It's not bad to wake up with shaving cream. I mean, if you go through that once, that's pretty funny. But it was not. Doc Hayes did not find it funny to find his damn ponytail cut off when he woke up. I mean, who does that? I mean,
well, were you surprised?
It ain't funny to get there.
Were you surprised to learn that X-Pac?
No, that's the sad part.
No.
That's the sad part. The sad part is I wasn't surprised.
Do you think that if you had, do you think if you had a ponytail, you
That
would have
surprised me.
lasted? No, I'm talking about you.
You know what? No, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. It's more than a possibility until I woke up and decided, all right, this is what's happening to stay away from people. I did not leave my clothes in the locker room. I put my shorts on and I walked around with my shirt all day, and I stayed away from the locker room. I started hiding out basically once I learned, once I had had enough, of getting rid like that.
Really?
So yeah, I mean the antidote to that is stay away from people. When it's time for you to go to the ring, go to the ring. After that, go home. I mean, to your hotel or wherever. Get out.
Even with the big backup you had in Mabel and Mo, you still found the need to kind of hibernate from everybody else?
Mabel and Mo, for the most part, tried to avoid conflict no matter what was being done to me or they tried to avoid conflict.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. After a while, and it took a while, after a while, they got tired of it.
They didn't want to see you hazed.
They didn't want to see me hazed, and they didn't want to see me bullied. I remember we was on a bus trip, and okay, this is what happened. There was a spot in the ring where Samu was supposed to slap me off the ring apron, and what wound up happening in the first attempt, I ducked. The second attempt, I took the slap and fell off. But he was really, really pissed that I didn't take the slap the first time, and he wanted to fight me on the bus. And to my surprise, yes, Samu did. Okay. To my surprise, Mo got in between us and said, "Nah, I'm sick of this shit. You not getting ready to fight Oscar. You ain't getting ready to touch him, and and I kick your ass, and and that kind of thing." So yeah, they got real defensive because I mean it had gotten old even to them at some point. Oscar's not a wrestler. He ain't weak, but he ain't no fighter. Or nothing like that. And y'all just picking on the guy just to be picking on the guy. I'll tell you, one of the biggest people that used to give me the hardest time all the time for no reason, and that was Lex Luthor. Lex Luger.
Luger gave you a hard time?
Every chance he got.
Why? I know. Remember one time you told us a story that I guess you sang too loud or something.
Nah, he didn't have no reason.
Well, what was his problem?
I mean, his problem was what a lot of people's problem was. You didn't go through training. You didn't go win a contest. You didn't, and you just came on off the street, and now you with us making all this money, and the crowd is over. We don't like the fact that the crowd is over, and whatever lollipops went along with that. That's all his problem was.
Huh. And how often would he pester you?
We was on a European tour one time, and he pestered me every day, all day.
Really? What would he do to try and agitate you?
I mean, he just get to yelling at me and threatening me and all kinds of stuff like that.
He threatened you?
Yeah.
How did he threaten you?
How you threaten anybody?
Well, I mean, did he threaten physical violence or?
Yeah, that too.
He just walk up to you and say, "Oscar, I'm going to kick the hell out of you"?
Not those words, but pretty close.
Was it intimidation more than direct threats?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, nah, it was more. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It was more. It was more just chastising me really loud about every little thing.
And you got tired of it.
Yeah, I really have. I got.
Well, it appears
So-
that I really don't know him, but it appears he's been a changed man since he had his physical ailments.
Yeah,
that
I'm
have left him in a
sure.
wheelchair, but hopefully at some point he realizes what he did and he at least gives you an apology, a sincere apology.
But the ultimate thing was that fight with the 1-2-3 kid. That's sealed everything.
Who got into a fight with the 1-2-3 kid?
I did.
How did you get into a fight with the 1-2-3 kid?
We was in the locker room. He grabbed me. We got into a tussle. He lost.
Really?
Yep.
You stretched the 1-2-3 kid?
I'm afraid so. It's a legendary occurrence.
Describe the situation. Who came at who?
He did. He tried to grab me or do something. Then we got into it, and yeah, he lost. And he was pissed after that because they were rapping about that forever. Oscar kicked his ass.
What led to the problems between you two?
No, it was no problem. It was really no problem. It was got to be a problem after that because he was always itching for a rematch. But no, he just tried to grab me and do something. I don't know what he was thinking. Tried to grab me and do something, and yeah, he ain't stand a chance.
Now, what did you do when he came at you? What did you do? Did you go for a leg or an arm or a?
I wrestled him, picked his ass up, and it was over.
Really?
Yeah.
Did the boys pop?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
the
tell
kid.
you. They pop for days.
X-Pac must have been humiliated.
He tried to pick another fight for months after that.
But you weren't going to play that game.
Nah, I wasn't. We was on a plane, and he gonna come and spray shaving cream on my jacket. But as pissed as I was, we was on a plane. I didn't want to go up to him and start a fight, and then have the marshals waiting for us when the plane landed with his dumb ass.
So that was about as much revenge as he got. He sprayed your coat with shaving cream.
Yep. But he gonna kick him apart after that story. Luna Rashad won the fight on the elevator.
I remember you told us that story. That Luna,
Right.
she had a she for whatever reason she was not a fan of yours one day on an elevator. Was it overseas?
Yeah, it was over. Everybody snapped overseas. Getting on the elevator, and she just snapped for no reason and jumped on me on the elevator. Now, the reason why she was dominant in that fight was because she was a girl, and I don't know if I could have took her anyway with her big strong ass, but I didn't want to really. I didn't want to fight no girl, and it was Earthquake really that separated the situation because he was on the elevator too.
What did Earthquake do?
He kind of broke it up.
Well, geez, I tell you, did you want to take a shot at her?
Not really.
No, you were too much of a gentleman.
See, what? No, I knew that. I knew. I love Luna. I did, and I knew Luna had problems. Yeah. So it was just a matter of trying to keep her off you so you really don't get hurt. Because she really came at me like a rabid animal, just
out of nowhere.
And that's why every time Butcher Paul Vachon see me, his ass be laughing.
She just got on the elevator out of nowhere and attacked you.
No, I got on the elevator and she was mad because I didn't seem to know what floor I was going to, and that just Aggravated her.
Well, I know there's going to be a Dark Side of the Ring episode on Luna this fall. I imagine you could have been someone interviewed. You could have added some insight to Luna.
Yeah, they need to call me because that's the story.
Any other? Well, she's a topic that's going to be coming up. Any other memories of Luna? Any good memories of Luna? Where she was a fellow manager at the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of good memories of Luna. That same day, she, as I was talking about this in the lobby with Mo Mabel and Bam Bam Bigelow, Bam Bam asked her and tell me I need to apologize.
He said you should apologize to Luna?
I should apologize, yeah.
Why?
Who the hell knows? So I go to Luna's room to talk to her, and she grabbed me and hugged me and cried and kissed me, and she apologized. She told me she was bipolar.
Yeah, in the trailer for the new Dark Side of the Ring series, Medusa Alundra Blaze, I believe, alludes to that from that episode. And, that's difficult to deal with. I'm sure she could have used someone like David Reese.
I wonder if they finish with the Luna documentary, because I would actually call Vice and see if they can use that story, because that is a prevalent Luna story.
I'm gonna guess that it's already edited, where it seems like the whole season is done. But you know what? I don't think it would hurt to reach out to them.
Nah, I don't think so either.
Maybe your story could add some insight onto how quick she could snap. She was violent with you, and then was it the next day or later that night that she came and hugged you and apologized to you?
Yeah, no, she did, but but I'll tell you one thing. That is just like the boys didn't let, they didn't let 1, 2, 3 kids forget.
They didn't let the one. I think you broke up for a second.
No, they didn't let the 1, 2, 3 kid forget how he lost the altercation with me, and they shouldn't let me forget how I lost the altercation with Luna. They thought it was hilarious.
They reminded you of it?
All the time.
What was your reaction when Luna all of a sudden just jumped on you and started attacking you? What were you thinking? How do I get this woman off of me? Or I know you said you didn't want to take a swing at her.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, I didn't want to take a swing at her, but man, yeah, no, I was in shock. I'm looking at Earthquake like, Earthquake, your big ass, do something.
And how long did Earthquake let it go on for before he intervened?
It went on for. It actually went on for a couple of minutes. It just seemed like forever. But he didn't want it to spill over to him. So that's what made him kind of break it up.
Well, he was a big guy. I wouldn't want to have him
angry
at me.
Yeah. Oh, he's not angry at me. Oh, Earthquake wanted to. I remember Earthquake wanted to slap the hell.
He wanted to slap the hell out of who?
Oh man, I must have pissed off some of everybody.
Earthquake wanted to slap you?
Yeah, everybody was on the bus, and I was running late. And Earthquake said, "Oscar, why are you late?" I mean, why are you late? I said, "What's the matter, man? You got some place to be?" And no, why did I say that? Because that infuriated him. We got to the building, and he was like, "Oscar, you're freaking late to the damn bus, and this, that, and the other. You're going to ask me, do I got some place to be? Do I got some place to be? I'm diabetic, and I have to get some place to eat, and on and on and on and on and on, and just yelling. And David, the one of the twins, not the referee, but no, David Hebner.
Yeah.
David Hebner, he was like, Oscar, come here. All right, I'm gonna tell you something. Don't you F with Quick, okay? Leave Quick alone. Don't F with Quick. You know, because Quick was, he was 1 minute from taking one of them big hands and grabbing by my neck and strangling me.
Do you think Quake wanted to take a swing at you?
He was mad. But see, I'm going to tell you no, because, people would only go so far because they sure as hell didn't want to make Mabel mad. Right. So they picked at me and yelled and whatever, but they did it carefully.
That makes sense. Were there times that Mabel had to intervene on your behalf, either in America or on European tours? No.
No, like I told you, Mo did, but Mabel didn't. But every time there was something, people would cut their eyes at him because he was always watching to make sure it didn't go too far.
Well, that was good of him. No, but I mean, were you surprised to learn of the antics on that one flight? I mean, you had several European flights under your belt. I mean, that was kind of a regular.
No. Nothing shocked me. That was a regular flight.
A lot of. Did you ever see? Well, I mean, were you ever at the point when WWF had a private plane? Or were you always on commercial?
No, I never had. No, I never. That's one thing that I never did. I never rode a helicopter, and even though my company now got a private jet, for me to ride on it, I would have to go all the way to Aspen to get on there to have that experience. I wasn't finna do that. That ain't worth all that. Yeah. But I'll get on there soon, though.
Well. Just, I felt bad for the flight attendant that went through so much, that was willing to share her story. Again, we weren't there. We can't say that what she says is 100% true, but, with apparently a drugged-up Razor Ramon was in bad shape. It cost him his job. Mr. Perfect cost him his job. Do you think that these people should have been fired, Oscar? Do you think that maybe they should have been given a second chance?
Nah, they needed to be fired, but when they got fired, I knew that, according to who they was, they'd be back. But they needed to be sent home and reflected on what it was, because the plane ride from hell, I'm sorry. That was too much.
Well, Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall never returned.
Well,
Scott Hall's made a couple of cameos and he's gone into the Hall of Fame, but Mr. Perfect was dead within a year, less than a year.
Yeah, but I think that if he would have survived and been in good health, he was too much of a talent not to come back. But it was just the idea of him going and taking some time and getting his act together. If he could have did that and had a conversation with Vince, and Vince felt like, he had his head on straight, Mr. Perfect was too talented for them not to bring back, because they done brought back people for worse. You know that.
Oh, definitely, that. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's just a shame, like we said, that that plane ride was in early May of 2002, and he passed away in February of 2003. I remember it vividly because we had an event that Saturday, and Paul Bearer was very upset as he was close with Mr. Perfect. Was Mr. Perfect, were his ribs, did he ever take them out in your direction? Or
no, I never got ribs that I can remember.
By Mr. Perfect?
By Mr. Perfect.
You got along with Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, I did get along. Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect told Vince, I'll never forget this, because it was one of the biggest compliments an individual ever gave me personally. Mr. Perfect told Vince that when it come to Oscar, you got $1 million in the bank and you don't even know it.
Really?
Yep, and I'll never, ever, ever, ever forget that.
Wow.
That sent chills down my spine.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's really, really impressive. I mean, for someone to think that highly of you, to go to Vince and say that, yeah.
Yep.
Well, I tell you, you know what? It's too bad that maybe you didn't go along with that idea of the heel turn. You know, I don't want to put thoughts in your head or say, say you were wrong, but you know, look at what happened. With
there was no.
Go ahead.
The success.
Well, no, I'm talking about look at the success about a year or so later that the Nation of Domination would have. Imagine if they had you as a rapper instead of PG-13. Imagine the heat that you could have got for the Nation just with your raps.
I understand that. But, I mean, you know, there was no amount of money on the planet that was going to make me exude negativity publicly on that scale.
Well, I respect you for that.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But for me, that's tantamount to the devil showing up, offering me a deal for my soul. You know, there's no amount of money, no amount of fame, or no amount of power in this world that's going to make me do that. I'm sticking to my, you know, sticking to what I believe in, even though I needed the money.
Well, let me ask you this, Oscar. Say you were, not to put you in his shoes, but just say you had the Jim Ross position at that time, and you were in charge of talent relations. You were on the plane ride from hell. How would you go about trying to handle all of the problems that were going on between Flair and?
Let me tell you, that's a good question. Okay. I'm gonna tell you something. If I were Jim Ross, the plane ride from hell never would have happened, because all that ribbon shit, and you never hear me curse, would have been nipped in the bud long before the plane ride from hell happened. And all the ribbons would have been not fired, but they would have been suspended to know that ribbon is not tolerated here.
So you wouldn't have fired any of them. You just would have suspended them all.
No. What I'm telling you is it never would have happened because that practice would have been dispelled.
It would have been
discouraged long before the plane ride ever happened.
Long before the tour and long before the plane ride itself.
Long before that ever happened, ribbon of any kind would have been discouraged, and it would have been dealt with in the severest term long before the plane ride ever happened. So it never would have even happened.
So the plane ride itself would have been smooth. It wouldn't have been
the plane ride would have been smooth. It would have been cards and Monopoly.
Do you think
in the back?
Do you think that there was maybe too much alcohol involved?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. They would not have been getting cart after cart after cart after cart of alcohol.
Now,
here's the thing.
All right.
I don't drink, so I don't understand it, go along with it, or nothing like that. So yeah, the alcohol would have been severely limited.
You wouldn't have had a beverage.
No, no. They would have had alcohol. They would have got one cart. They get one cart, then another cart, then another cart, then another cart. Nah, that wouldn't have been approved.
So you would have eliminated this problem before it ever had a chance to become a problem on an
airplane.
Her
problem would have been nipped in the bud a long time ago. See, the problem is that from the top down, they did not discourage ribbon like that. They let it go on. So it was free reign on doing it. So by the time the plane ride from hell happened, no, I'm not surprised it got way out of hand. Like it did. You encouraged it going on, so it went on.
Well, it's too bad that it happened. I felt bad for the poor lady that had to be subjected to it. It seemed like it kind of caused some issues in her marriage. over it. She kind of alluded to it without directly saying it. I hope things worked out for the best for her. Her husband seemed to kind of want to know what she did to make the wrestlers act like that, as if I don't know. I don't know where she didn't come out and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but
she didn't. No, she didn't do nothing at all. That means they acted like who they are. They acted like who they are. She does nothing she did or didn't do.
Do you believe her?
Yeah, 100%.
100%. All right. Well, just
I know how my brotherhood and my fraternity are. I know how they are. If they were quiet boys, I'd be like, hell no, she lying. But no, they smart. They're children of the devil. So I know it's all true.
Who do you think the biggest culprit was, Oscar, from what you have heard and read and watched on that documentary?
The biggest I couldn't tell you
There were many.
Who the biggest culprit was. They were all liable. They were all liable all together. You have victims. Doc Hayes was a victim, and whoever the hell was asleep was a victim.
Well, it's a good thing nothing happened at 30,000 feet when they went near the emergency exit.
Well, yeah, see, and then you know, how drunk you got to be, how stupid you got to be.
I know.
If they'd have popped that door open, the plane ride from hell would have been a different show.
Oh, everybody would have got sucked out.
Yeah, everybody would have got sucked out.
Unless they were in their seatbelt or something like that.
And then the wrestling business, as we know it today, would be a whole different situation.
Let me ask you this, Oscar, as we're running out of time, but as the man that was the quote-unquote leader of the company, do you think Steve Austin should have stepped in and done something? He kind of, from what I was told, he kind of stayed up front with his wife and didn't want any part of it and wanted to be left alone.
Well, first off, I believe, you know what? See, I don't know Steve Austin personally. I only know him by reputation. And I do believe that they knew better than to mess with Steve Austin. Because from what I understand, I believe Steve Austin could fight for real. And so they wouldn't have messed with him, and especially not messing with his wife.
Well, what I'm saying is, do you think maybe he should have got up and went to the back and said, "Look, guys, enough with the bullshit"?
Nah, I think he did exactly what he should have did. Stayed up there and minded his business.
With Deborah and her puppies.
Right, because see, here's the thing. He stayed out of it, so you didn't see his name really mentioned in that documentary.
I don't think it was mentioned once. Yeah.
Right. So he didn't have nothing to do with it, and it was smart that he played it the way he played it.
You don't think he could have made a difference if he spoke up?
Yeah, I don't know whether he could have or not, but he was smart not to even get involved. Because here you are, 20, 30 years later, a documentary is on, and his name ain't even came up. So that just goes to show how well played that was.
Yeah, and look who's bringing it up, you and I. So there you go. There's a lot of people that
me and you.
They don't remember or they don't realize that Austin was right up in first class as all that craziness was going on.
Right. Until you said something, I didn't even know he was on the plane.
What did you think of Deborah's puppies?
I don't know nothing about her puppies.
You don't know anything. Would you take him for a walk? If you were a single man?
Sure, I love dogs.
Right.
Yeah, my landlady got 2 dogs, and I play with them all the time.
You got a little Quincy Rastani in you. You love the puppies. All right, wrestling fans, we are running out of time. Oscar, any final thoughts for the week?
And final thoughts is, I just hope that, I hope the mental health picture in wrestling as a whole gets addressed. And the people that need help get the help they need. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, praying that we going in the right direction. And, that's most important to me, making sure everybody's all right so that we don't have another plane ride from hell.
That's a good way to put it. And not only that, just the, maybe some of the simpler things that can happen from day to day that aren't good for people, Try and eliminate that altogether. So we'll see. All right, well, fans, again, we'd love to know what you thought of the Dark Side of the Ring plane ride from hell episode. We'd love to know what you thought of Extreme Rules. If you're watching during the premiere after Raw, leave your thoughts in the premiere chat that we're having. The super chat button is always open to help us keep the lights on. If you're not watching during the premiere, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. YouTube loves to know that you're interacting with us. Give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. We have over 2,000 free videos for you to enjoy, and you get alerts for when we have brand new episodes 7 nights a week. What a big week ahead we have, Oscar. Tomorrow, we officially celebrate our 20th anniversary. John Cena Sr. and I have a special episode at 7:30. And then we're back after WWE NXT with New Jack for Wrestling Insiders Extreme as we look at the world of Extreme Championship Wrestling. On Wednesday, the legendary Demolition Axe is back as he continues his look at the early times of Demolition in WWF in 1987. Very interesting episode if you are an 87 WWF fan. Marty Jannetty is back on Thursday. You never know what to expect with that crazy human being. And then we round out the week with the man himself, almost the father figure of Boston wrestling, John Cena Sr. David Reese has his pieces. John Cena Sr. has a piece of his own, I guess is the best way to put it. Is that the best way to put it? Are you still there, Oscar? Well, I guess Oscar's busy thinking about puppies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, running out of time here. I'm Dan Marati for my partner in crime, Oscar. We'll see you next Monday night after Raw. Until then, you and yours be well, stay healthy. Good night from Boston. Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.